Hello my lovelies, how are you? Sorry, I was just grabbing a tissue. I sat down, pressed play and then realised I didn't have a tissue. Hopefully you're all okay. Happy Wednesday. We're going to do Quilt As You Go tonight. How have you all been? I'm just going to scroll down and see who's coming online. Let's see, there's Claire. Hi Claire, how are you? Hopefully everyone's okay. I was reading all your comments on the Wonder Wednesday today, all about holidays and stuff, which was really interesting actually. A lot of us came to Wales, didn't we? So yeah, it was really interesting actually. I love those Wonder Wednesdays and seeing all your comments and bits and pieces. Hi Linda, hello. So right, let me just scroll up a second, make sure this is all working okay. Can you see and hear me? I hope you can. Is this working? Why have I not got any picture? Can you see me guys? Hopefully I'm there. Let me know. Hi Grace. Well, you must be able to hear me, hopefully, because you're all saying hello. So we're going to do week 3 of the quilt along today, which is all about foundation piecing. Because I remember we said that this quilt, when I originally designed it, each week had like different techniques in it. So we've had 2 piecing weeks. Now we're going to do a bit of a foundation piecing week, and then next time there's piecing and foundation and how to combine them, and then the last week there'll be a plique, and then we've got some really lovely little blender blocks and stuff to go in there. Okay, so hi. Oh, lots of you. Hi, yeah, you can see and hear me. Brilliant. Hello Jackie, hello Natalie, hello Cheryl, hi Taryn, hello, it's all good by looks of it. Excellent. So I flipped the quilt so you can see what the week we're going to do. Hopefully you can see. Can you guys see this top row? Can you see this one? Because I can't see the screen, I can't see what you can see. So hopefully you can see this one. Let me know if you can. What we're going to do is this one here, okay, which is a foundation piecing block. It is one of my favourite techniques. I love foundation piecing. I really enjoy it. I love the fact you can get very different shapes, which you wouldn't necessarily be able to get with normal piecing. Just because of the angles and stuff, they'd be really difficult. So you can see the top row. Brilliant, thank you, lovely. So we're going to do this one. It's called an exploding star, because the whole idea is it's supposed to look like it's like that, gone like that. There is, you will need the template for this one. I did put the cutting instructions up earlier, but I hadn't put them up previously just because you do need the template, so you do need to get the pattern for this one, which is on our website. I did put a link when I put the cutting instructions up, and it's most of you have already bought the whole pattern anyway, but the pattern actually had the cutting instruction on it, and because you need the templates, I didn't bother, but I have done it now for those of you who wanted it. Okay, you've not tried FPP before? Oh, cool. Well, this is quite an easy foundation piecing because it's quite big pieces. Some foundation piecing can be really tiny, and you're working with, you know, like 1/8 of an inch pieces and stuff. But these are nice and big, so it's a really nice one if you've not had to go at it before to try. Okay, so I'm just going to go through what you need and how we're going to do it. And there's a few different ways of doing foundation piecing, not the actual technique of doing it, but how we do it. Okay, so I'm going to come over here for you. Hopefully you can see that, guys. So on the cutting instructions, from your background fabric, which is grey on the diagram, you want 8 rectangles which are 3 inches by 6.5, and you need 2 squares which are 5 inches by 5 inches, and you're going to cut those in half diagonally. Okay, when you get really clever on foundation piecing, you won't need these. I've made these extra big again for beginners, so that if you've never done it before, you've got lots and lots of wiggle room. But when you get clever on it, you can actually reduce these amounts. Or if you've done it before, you'll know that you can reduce them. Okay, and then you want 3 fabrics. So fabric A, you want 4 rectangles which are 3 inch by 6.5. Fabric B, you want 4 rectangles which are 3 inch by 6.5, exactly the same. And fabric C, sorry, that's not bolded on that bit if you've got the pattern. And fabric C, you want 4 squares which are 5 inches. Okay, you need to print out your templates like this, and there should be 2. Okay, you should have A and B. okay? Now, I like to do my foundation piecing on Stitch and Tear, okay, which looks like interfacing. It's like a firm interfacing, but there's no glue or anything on it, okay? And it tears really easily. You can see it tears really nice and easily. You can absolutely do your foundation piecing on this and then tear it out, okay? So if I just show you the back of this one, I could tear all this off the back of this, okay, and just have pieced blocks. I don't do that, okay? Lots of people do. I've done a lot of foundation piecing and I always leave my Stitch and Tear in. It goes incredibly, the first time you wash your quilt, it feels a bit stiff to start with, but the first time you wash your quilt, it goes very, very soft, very gentle. You know, it's all, this has been washed loads and you would never know that it's still in there. I think leaving it in helps stabilise the block. A lot of people though will tear it out, and that's fine. If that's how you like to do it, that's no problem. I like Stitch and Tear because I like to leave it in. You can, however, do this directly onto your printer paper. So you need to, if you're going to do it onto the printer paper, you'll need 4 copies of A and 4 copies of B, okay? You can sew directly onto the paper. We're actually going to sew on the back, but you can sew directly onto this and then you can tear the paper out, okay? If you're going to do that, you want to reduce your stitch length right down, okay, to like 1.8, 1.5, 1.8. It means you've got a lot more perforations in the paper and it tears out a lot easier. I do not have the patience for that. I am not a patient person, as we all know, and I don't have the patience for it. It's not something I enjoy doing. I love foundation piecing, but I don't like doing it on paper. That's just my personal choice, okay? You guys can do it however works best for you, okay? I'm going to show you how to do it on Stitch and Tear because that's the way I do it. But how you would, if you want to do it on the paper, you would do exactly the same technique as I'm going to show you. Does that all make sense? Yeah, everybody okay with that? If you're going to use Stitch and Tear, you're going to pop this onto your template like that, and I find again this quite relaxing. I will then trace it all out. Okay, so I just took a pencil. I like a mechanical pencil because it actually helps almost like score the lines a little bit. I use a mechanical pencil or a very sharp pencil and draw my lines out. Okay, the other thing that I would suggest you do is actually write into this what colour each piece is going to be. All right, everybody with me? Everybody with me? No? Everybody all right? Good, 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 good. So on the cut instructions, I've actually put background fabric is piece A1 and B2. So this was A. Where's the other bit gone? Oh, there it is. See, I have drawn them out ready. So A2 is background. So physically write into it background, okay? And B2. So you can see here on the template, this is B2. So I've transferred that onto here. There's my 2 and there's my background, okay? Fabric A, whichever colour that is on yours, is A1. So that's A there, okay? Fabric B is going to be B1, which is that one there. So that's fabric B. Now, if you know that your fabric B is actually going to be blue or, you know, green ditzy or however you just, you know, you're naming your fabrics, you can write that in as well. It will help later on, okay? And then fabric C is A3. So A3 is C. And then back to my background there, that's A4, which is my background, which is that one there, okay? Right into your templates. It's just a little tip and it will help, okay? So the other thing that you don't have to have, but you may find easy for, you know, it's a really good tool. I use it a lot for foundation piecing, is an add a quarter ruler, okay? We have got them on the website. We've got Stitch and Tear on the website as well. You know, so you can order it off the website if you want to. And add a quarter ruler, they come in 12 inches or 6 inches, okay? I've got both, but I do, sorry. My asthma is really bad the last few days. Phil! Sorry, I'm just going to see if he'll bring me some water. Baby, could you grab me a glass of water, please? Thank you. Sorry, I'm just coughing a lot at the moment. I know it's not COVID because I've had PCR tests and antibody tests and all sorts, but I'm just a little bit asthma-y at the moment. So anyway, and add a quarter ruler, okay? If you haven't got one, it is one of, I know I don't believe in lots of different rulers, but these are fantastic. They've got, and I know we've talked about them before, this little lip on them, which is an exact 1/4 inch, and I'm going to show you in a minute how we're going to use that, okay? So we're going to start with A. Thank you. Cheers, Hannah. So, but actually, before we start, has anybody got any questions from last time or the time before? Has anybody got anything they need me to just talk you through? If you have, pop it in your comments and I'll try and get to them, okay? So, I'm just going to go through this, okay? So, I know that that's my A4, which is my background. That one there is going to be my A2, which is also one of my background ones, okay? That's my A3, which is my C fabric, and then where is it? There it is there. That's my A fabric, which is going to be A1. Okay. Now, the side that you've drawn on, or the side, oh, what good hubby, yeah, he's cooking tea at the minute as well, or the side that it's printed on is actually the wrong side. All the fabric is going to end up on this, so therefore it's a mirror image, okay? So it can be a little bit confusing, which is why it's worth drawing in those writing in what the fabrics are, because sometimes, in fact, I'll show you on here. So this little diagram here is how they're going to end up. But if you look at the template, my background is on the left and my coloured is on the right. But on here, it's the wrong other way round. That's because that's that side, what it looks like when it's done. Okay, so therefore it's like a mirror image. That'll sort of make sense in a minute, okay? Right, so first things first, we're going to start with A1, okay? Which I know is my fabric A, which for me is this one, okay? This is going to go on the wrong side, okay? So that's where I've done my drawing. This is my wrong side. And it's going to go wrong sides together. So the wrong side is going to go down. So I'm on this one only, so I'm right sides up, okay? And what I want to do is, this is where it's slightly difficult at night time. It's much easier when you've got a window you can look at, but I'm going to look through the fabric. Okay, so I'm literally tilting it towards the light, and I'm just checking. This is really hard for me to show you on camera, but I'm just checking basically. I'm moving the fabric around until the whole of that shape, A1, is covered, okay? So if I look through, I know you can't see this, but if I look through at the light, I can see that the whole of that shape is covered in fabric, all right? I'm going to put a pin on there to hold that. In fact, actually use a flat pin, it's easier. Oh my goodness, I can see myself getting totally muddled with FPP. No, you won't, darling, honestly. Take it one step at a time and you'll be fine. So, wrong side of fabric, wrong side of template. All the fabrics go on this side, all right? I'm going to put my first fabric down like that, and I'm going to double check. So I'm looking through the template. Is it completely covered? And I want this bit. This is my seam allowance, okay? These are my stitch lines, and this bit here is my seam allowance. I want to make sure that the whole of that shape there, down there, is covered. Pop a pin in it, just like that. Just hold a pin in place. We're going to flip it over. Okay, no, we're not. We're not going to flip it over. We are going to fold back on the line between 1 and 2. Okay, so what I mean by that, that's A1 and that's A2. So we're going to fold this whole thing, not the fabric, just the stitch and tear, back on that line. Okay, so I'm folding it back on that line there, like that. So I've exposed basically the excess fabric. This is where your little ruler comes into play. If you've got a normal ruler, you can absolutely do it, and you would just line up your 1/4 inch along the fold of the stitch and tear or the paper. If you're using the paper, you would do exactly the same. You would fold this along that line, okay? You can measure out 1/4 of an inch, but the joy of an add a quarter is you can slide that on and it literally butts up against that fold, okay? And you've got that extra, that lip there, it's butted up, and I know that's 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to cut off the fabric like that, okay? That's waste, okay? When you get, like I said, when you get clever with FP, you don't get waste like that, but I've done this for beginners, all right? And hopefully you can see that there is 1/4 of an inch bigger than that line, okay? First step, so fold back, trim off at 1/4 of an inch, flip it back over, okay? You're then going to take whatever A2 is. So A2 is background. We're then going to put that raw edge, okay, there, along that edge that we've just cut, that line there. We're going to line that up like that, okay? Hold them together and pin it in. Now you can pin from the other side, just don't pin anywhere near that pencil line, okay? But I'm just going to pin it like this, all right? We're now going to stitch just along that line. So I'm going to start here. I'm not going to go into the seam allowance. I'm going to start just there on that line, come all the way down and finish there. I don't want to go into this piece here. I'm just stitching on the pencil line. Everybody with me so far? You all okay? So I'm going to go over to the machine. Shout if you are, if you're not, okay? And I'll try and sort of slow this down and all for you. Hopefully I'm over here now. So you can you can use any foot, all right? I happen to like this big open toe foot for foundation piecing. I was using it the other day actually. It's really handy because I can really see that line, and hopefully you guys can too as well. So I'm going to put my needle down right on that end, and I'm just going to stitch down that line. So can you show that bit again? The flippy bit, right, hang on, I'm going to stop. Let's come back over here. Sorry, Carol, which bit, lovely? Putting the two pieces together. Oh, hang on, 2 seconds, I'll take that bit off and just show you again. Can you show that bit again? Which bit? The flipping the two bits together or the trimming off? Okay, so put on my first piece, okay, on the back of the stitch and tear. I pushed back against that pencil line like that, so I've folded back on the pencil line. I've put my add a quarter ruler on and I've trimmed off any excess fabric, okay. Press this back out, flip it back over so you can see the fabric, and then I'm going to add in, just get rid of that bit of thread. This would be the right side to right side. So if this was a patterned fabric, I'm just putting fricks on it, okay? So this would be the patterned fabric. The pattern is going to go right side to right side along that edge, like that, all right? The two together. There we go. I think that bit there is it. So I've put right side of fabric to right side of fabric, like that. The joy of a plane, it doesn't matter, but you'll see it again in a moment as well when I do the rest of the pieces, okay? And then we're going to flip it back over like that and pin this in, and then I'm going to stitch down, okay? And I'll show you that step again on this piece and the other bit, all right? So I'm going to come back over here, and then, like I was saying, we're just going to stitch down that pencil line. So I'm going to lock stitch at the beginning, and down we go. All the way down, just follow that pencil line. Like I was saying, if you're using paper, if you're doing this on printer paper, did you see how I slowed right down when I come towards the end, because I don't want to come into A3, which is down here, okay? But I am going to lock off just there and cut my thread, okay? Just realised I turned my iron off, I just turned it back on again. So we're coming back over to here. Hopefully we're back over here. There we go. So I've stitched down from there to there. Okay, I haven't gone into this bit and I haven't gone into my seam allowance. Take those pins out. Okay, and then when you open this piece up, this should be the right side now, you can see that, and just give that a quick finger press. We'll put this under the iron in a second. Okay, so that's my first 2 pieces on. In fact, the iron's now hot enough, I can just very quickly give that a press. Okay, like that. So that's A1 and A2 is actually on. Alright, again, you can double check that A2 is correct by holding it up to the light. So I know this is really hard for you to see, but basically I'm going to, actually if I come over here, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, you're going to hold it up to the light so that you can see that it's A2 is completely covered by that piece. Alright, let's go back. Whilst I thought I hadn't done FPP before, I realised now I'd done a little bit years ago on a Christmas tree trivet. Oh, there you go. You'll be fine then, my dear. You'll be fine. Now we want to think about A3, which is this piece here. So we're going to fold back on the next line, which is the line between the next piece. So that was the first one was between 1 and 2. Now we're going the line between 2 and 3, which is this long one here. We're going to fold back on that line, and you can see you've got all this excess. So back with the ruler, 1/4 inch, and we're going to trim it off like that. Trim off that excess you've got here. All right. Now, when we're starting out with FPP, you're going to have wastage. You're going to want to go big, because actually getting the angles right sometimes can really throw you. You can put a piece on, and when you open it out, you think, oh damn it, it didn't cover the piece that you needed it to. So be generous with your pieces, okay? So A3 for me is my C fabric, which is this one. So give that a quick press a second. I've trimmed off, flipped it back out, and then we're going to flip over. And then what I want to do is put this piece of fabric, it's going to go along that line where I've just trimmed off. And basically what will happen then is once I've stitched it, that's going to go out like that and be covering A3. So I'm going to pop that one on the line like that. Excuse me. Sorry, my throat is... I haven't talked to anybody for ages. Eileen, I know you showed me the quilt retreat, but you haven't had a chance to do it again. Oh, excellent. Well, you'll be able to watch this one back as well, lovely. So if you do want to have a little go at it, if you decide that FPP is not for you, you can do any 12.5 inch block and put it into here. Find a different 12.5 inch block, but it's worth having a little go at. I think it's worth just trying it, and then if you do one block, if you think that's not for me, that's not my cup of tea, any 12.5 bit, look, go back through the isolation sampler quilts. As long as it ends up at 12.5 inches, which what this is, it'll fit into this quilt. Okay, so but have a go. I think it's a really lovely technique. You wouldn't get those points like that really any other way without a lot of complicated maths. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go from here to there, which is basically that line that we folded back on. You all still with me? You okay? So over we go. What we're going to do now is I'm going to drop my needle in right on that point, and then I'm going to lock it off. This is genuinely a very, very simple foundation piece in pattern. It's only got like 4 pieces in this one and 2 in the others. If you saw some of the foundation piecing that I've done, it can have like 100 pieces. It's crazy. There we go. What's that, Jane? Sorry you're late. Good luck for tomorrow. Oh, thank you very much, lovely. And don't worry about being late. You can catch up any time. But yes, thank you. Yeah, everyone keeps saying, are you alright? You okay for tomorrow? I was like, yeah, it's fine. Go in, have it done, get it sorted. It doesn't worry me, stuff like that. I don't tend to be... I worry about a lot of things, but this sort of thing, I don't, operations and stuff, I'm in the hands of professionals. It's not what I could do myself, so I'm just going to trust that they know what they're doing. There we go. So I flipped that one out that I've just stitched on, like that. Okay, you can pop a pin down in here low if you want to. Oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? hang on a second, my laptop is doing something very random. Am I still there? Hope so. What stitch number and length are you using, please? So I'm just on my normal straight stitch, and I've taken it down to 2 because I'm using stitch and tear. If you're going to do it on the paper, I would take it down to like 1.8 or 1.5, but just standard straight stitch, which is number 3, I think, on my panel, because you've got the same machine as me, I think, Claire. Okay, so there we go. I've added that one on, and again, do that little double check. Hold it up to the light and double check. I know you can't, I don't know if you can see this, but double check that the whole of A3 is covered, which it is. All right. And then the last, oh, hang on, let me go back over here. So don't panic. Oh, good. That's all right. I had this thing come flashing up on there. I was like, don't you do that to me again. I thought Drew fixed it. So what we want to do now is, we're going to go to A4. Move that pin out of the way. So we're going to flip it back over. So now I'm looking at the line between A3 and A4, which is this one here. So that's the one I'm going to fold back on. I like that. Okay. Add a quarter, butt it up to that fold, and then we're going to take off that excess like that. Okay. Unfold it, and then we want A4, which was my background triangle. So there's my background triangle, and I'm going to line that up along that cut edge like that. Hold them in place, flip them over. Again, there's a lot of flipping backwards and forwards with this method, but it's worth doing that to, you know, get it right. Oh, another pin. There we go. And then this last line that I'm going to stitch is along here. So from there to there. Okay. Oh, excuse me, my my voice is definitely going. There we go. So I'm going to drop it in there, do my lock stitch, and then down that pencil line. I don't know what my husband's cooking for tea, but it smells lovely. Get to the end, because I don't want to go too far, and lock stitch off again. There we go. Okay, so that's the first piece done. Alright, so let's come back over here. I'm going to take those pins out there. I'm going to flip this one over like that. Finger press it. And again, then just double check. Yep, that all covers. Alright, so I know that all of that piece there is covered in fabric. That's what you want. Give it a nice little press now, just a real gentle little press. Get those seams nice and crisp. Okay. Doesn't look much like a star at the minute, does it? Looks very, very random at the minute, okay? He is a very good cook. He is very, absolutely. I'm a very lucky girl. What we're going to do now is we're going to cut this down. Right, so we're going to flip it back. This outside line here, and that's the same on this, so this outside line here, if you're using the paper, is our cutting line. This is going to be our stitching line later. This is our cutting line. It's a 1/4 inch away basically. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just trim all this off. Ooh, not like that, because I nearly had my fingers that way, so I've got a lip. Naughty girl. Okay, off the end like that. Just follow the design all the way around and trim off all of that excess. Like that. You could use your, like I said, you can use your normal ruler. This doesn't have to be an add a quarter. You just will, you'll find them useful. If you get into paper piecing, you will find it useful. There we go. Okay. So when I've cut it down, we've got something that looks really quite nice and neat, and you've got nice points and everything. Can you see here where the edge from there to there, that's your 1/4 inch seam allowance, okay? So A is done relatively quickly, all right? We're now going to do B, because each little quadrant of this has got 2 pieces. So B1 is my fabric B, which is this dark one. Okay, so back to the beginning. The first piece is the only one that goes on differently. Flip it over. You're going to put the wrong side of the fabric to the stitch and tear or the paper. Alright, like that. Hold it up to the light, like that. Okay, actually, I can get that in there, like that. Holding it up to the light so that I can see that all of that is completely covered. And then we can trim off. So I'm going to fold down the line between 1 and 2. And this bit's only got 2 pieces, which is fantastic. It's nice and quick. Just move that down a weeny bit like that. Add a quarter ruler and away we go. Like that. Trim off that excess. Okay. These bits are actually great then for crumb quilting, you know, or mile a minute, because they're slightly different shapes and angles. You know, use them for that if you need to. Okay. Pop a pin in just to hold it down a second. Just because I'm just going to flip it over. Yep, that's all fine. So now my B2 is background, because I've written it on from the pattern. It also means if you write it on the stitch and tear, you haven't got to keep going backwards and forwards to the pattern. You can see, I can quite clearly see it says background, so I know that that's what I'm looking for. It's my background square. I'm going to put them right sides together. So remember, this is, say this is a patterned fabric, this will be right sides together. So right side to right side, like that. Hold them tightly, flip it over, and then pin them together. Okay, like that. Pop a couple of pins in. Okay, so this is one of the few techniques. Hi Sarah, afraid you're late. Sorry, oh, you've been on after school duty. Oh, that's okay, lovely. You can catch up, no problem. And we're going to stitch from here all the way down to there. This is a mega quick little piece, this one. There we go. So, I didn't get to have my little man last night. I missed my Jonah cuddles because of self-isolating, so I didn't get to have Jonah Benjamin last night. No cuddles for me. Here we go. So down we go. Whiz down that line, and then I do just slow down a weeny bit, just so I've got a bit more control when I get right to the end of the line. And this is also one of the reasons I like my foot pedal rather than my start-stop button. I never use it. I can't get my head around it. It's like driving. It'd be like trying to drive an automatic. Now I know you do get used to it, but there we go. So over we go. Take those pins out like that, and then flip that one out. Okay, and then I'm going to give that a very quick press. Like that, and there's only 2 pieces in this one, 1 and 2. So what I can do now is trim this all off just like we did the other one. So we're going to go on, use this ruler just because it's here. There we go, down that one, round the corner, just chop that bit off the top, and down the side. Is everybody okay with what I'm doing? Is this making sense to you guys? I know some of you have done a lot of foundation piecing. Others of you might be completely new to this. So, let me know if this is making sense, guys, okay? I hope it is. Okay, so there we go. There's my my second piece. You need to make 4 of A and 4 of B. Okay, now I've already gone ahead and made the others, okay? But I'm going to show you how to join these together and then how to put it all together to make the whole block. So, this is now going to go, and again on the pattern it tells you, this is basically what we're doing is that we're making, this is the centre, we're making one side of the star, like that, okay? This is going on down here. So I want to pop these right sides together, like that. And this is where trusty pins come in. I'll have to watch a few times. Yeah, just take it step by step, Put me on mute, obviously, but watch a little bit, stop and do that step, and then watch a little bit, stop and do that step. Sometimes it's a lot easier rather than trying to take it all in and remember all the steps. Do one step at a time, lovely, okay? It's one of those things that some people do struggle with to start with because it's all mirror imaged, but I've never met anybody that hasn't been able to do it totally, okay? So little step by little step. And pause me, do that little bit and come back. It's a good Blue Peter moment, absolutely. I try and be a bit prepared. So I'm going to find that corner there, okay, with my pin, right on that very corner, like that. And then I want to find the corner, because it's going to join onto this side here. So I'm looking for that corner there. So I'm going to put my pin through until I've got that corner, all right? Don't pin it fully, just leave it like pivoting at the moment while we do the next corner. So next corner is over here, like that. And then find the corner that side, like that, okay? Last one I would do is right through the centre. So just to make sure it's right, put a pin through that line, and hopefully, ooh, can you see it? I don't know if you can see that, it's just off. So let's just move that down so it's right. So the pin goes from that point there through to that one there, all right? Once I know that that's correct, then you can pin it in, all right? So like that, and there, and there. If you pin in straight away, it can actually move, because you can see it's now sort of bent the fabric a little bit, hasn't it? It can move it all, and I find by putting those pins through like that, getting them right, and then putting them in, you get a better finish, okay? You just get a much more accurate result. So what we're going to do now is we're going to sew from there, put these two together, there to there. So we're going to go back over, and I'm going to take that pin out because I need to put my needle right in that spot there, like that. So I get to the machine, take the pin out, lock stitch it off, and away we go. Take the pins out as you go. Makes sense. I think I'll enjoy it. I've admired Pride and Joy Quilting on Instagram for a while. She does a lot of foundation piecing. So yeah, absolutely. It's very methodical, and it's quite logical when you start doing it, which I think I quite like. I quite like the mathematical side of the angles, even though I'm rubbish at maths. I quite like the angles and making sure the fabric flips. I find it really, really interesting. Sorry, excuse me, ladies, just got to blow my nose. Oh, excuse me. Right. Yeah, Cheryl, I will absolutely have a look at it. I'm sure I've seen her on Instagram, but I don't know if I follow her. So, but I will look her up again. Right, okay. We've now sewn that one to that one. So when I push this one out, it looks like that. We're going to iron that seam. Now, I'm going to bring the sewing machine ironing board over, because this is one of the few times that I iron a seam open. Right, because I've got all this bulk, I just find it sits nicer. Now, if you, sorry, I'm just going to go back a step. If you want to tear this out, now is the time to do it. And I will do just a little bit on this one. I don't like doing this, but you just tear out, basically perforate it, okay, and you tear that out. I'm not going to do anything with this, so can you see, you just, because you've perforated that line, you can just tear out the stitch and tear, like that, alright? It does come out quite nicely, comes out as a whole piece, like that, and then you take off this, you get rid of that seam allowancey bit there, okay, tear it all out. You do the same if you've done it on paper, okay? So you would absolutely, but because paper's thicker than stitch and tear, that's why I'd reduce my stitch length down even further, all right? But you can tear it out if you don't want to leave it in. I personally, like I said, I've always leave it in. I think it stabilises and it washes beautifully. The first time you wash it, it'll go lovely, lovely and soft. But it is just a personal preference, that. It's just how I like to do it. You guys don't have to. There we go. So I'm just going to iron that seam open, like that. Okay, flip it over and give it a good press from that side as well. And you can see it just gives you really nice clean, this technique gives you really nice clean lines. Okay, you've got really nice angles in there. I've got like my 1/4 inch seam allowances here and here, all built in for me, even here. Okay, so when I join them together, which we're going to do now, okay, hopefully it'll all be okay. Hang on, I'm getting an alright mess over here. Let's get rid of some of that stuff. Okay, right, so you need to make 4 of those. Join all 4, and then they can go together. And what we do then is we're going to add them all the way round like this, like that, okay, and your star appears. I think this block works particularly well if you use your fabric A and B as tones of the same colour, so light blue, light grey, dark grey, something like that. It almost gives a slightly three-dimensional look, okay? You can use pattern fabrics, that's absolutely fine, okay? What you do then is join these. So we're going to join this one to this one, because we've got a straight there, and this one to this one, okay? And you're going to do exactly like we did before. So, there's those pins. I'm going to find the corners. So I'm going to find that corner there, find that corner just there, and then do the other end. Ooh, got all really manky pins in poor Dave at the moment. Find that corner there. Where's the corner there? Where is it? There it is there. Okay. Now you've also got a join here. Okay, can you see you want that little piece there to join up to that one there? So I would also pin that, okay, because any point that's going to join together, it's worth making sure. So I'm just going to move that seam back to make sure that that point there is coming through. Can you see I'm way off? So I want to make sure that it's pinned to the other side. Can you see that, guys? Hopefully you can. I'm hoping you can see that I'm close enough on the camera that you can see. And then again, just add a couple in. Make sure that that's going through that point there. And then one along here as well. So through. Ooh, I'm just a weeny bit off. So again, just manoeuvre it until, like that, it's right. And then pop your needle, your pins in. Okay, and that one on the end. So we're going to quickly sew this up. You make it look so easy. I think I might be able to do FPP you've had for about 2 years now. Wow, it looks amazing. I shall be doing this while rewatching. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the point of us doing these videos, isn't it? Is that you know, like I said, put me on mute. You don't want to bloody listen to me over and over. But you know, watch a little bit, stop. Do that little piece. Watch a little bit, stop. And once you get the sort of hang of this, it's a fantastic technique. You can do all sorts of things. Okay, in fact, actually, I'm going to have that pin out of there. Now, I want this seam to be open because of bulk, and I've had to push it back just to get the pin in the right place. So when I get close to it, like that, okay, I want to be able to take that pin out. Really, you know, keep your finger on it. Keep your finger on it so it doesn't move. You know, use a pair of scissors or a stylo or something if you need to, just to hold it all in place. Sorry, I know my hand was in the way then. I was just trying to keep it held in place. This block should end up the correct size for me then. The others are all a little bit different. Again, don't worry about that. We will do all that when you're putting it all together. I'll show you some tricks. You never put you on mute. I never listen to you. Oh, bless you. That's not what a lot of people have told me in the past, darling, but thank you very much. I want that in writing so I can show my husband. Mandy, looks great. If you've already taken your paper out at the previous stage, do you just need to make sure that the seam is 1/4 inch? Absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. So, if you've taken your... Let me come back over here. Yes, I take my papers out at this stage when I do it. On the odd occasion I do it on paper, I would take my papers out at this stage. I would actually probably draw the line in to make sure that I can match it up. Or use your 1/4 inch. If you know your 1/4 inch foot is right, use that. But yes, absolutely. I find if I try and take the papers, and again, that might just be my technique. You guys might have a better technique than I. If I wait till the whole thing's there and then I have to take all the papers out, bits get stuck in bits, and then I've got a pair of tweezers and I'm trying to get all the little bits out. Drives me insane. Drives me insane, which is why I do this. So, so yeah, so we're just going to pop that one together. So you can see you're just going to put it together exactly like you did the individual little sections. And again, But yeah, that's a really good point, Mandy. I didn't think to tell you guys that because I don't take it out very often. Well, thank you for bringing it up. Yeah, just check your 1/4 inch seam allowance is correct. You could draw it in if you want to, just with a Frix-on, or just make sure that your 1/4 inch is right on your machine. So yes, good point. Thank you. There we go. I'm going to press that one out, flip it over, and press it there. And oh, I'm quite proud of that point. Can you see that that's come to a really, because I was careful, that's come to a really nice point there. It's a teeny bit wonky, but I don't care there. But the point of the star's nice. We do exactly the same on the other one. Okay, I'm not going to do that now because my husband keeps putting his head around the door to see if I'm ready for tea. So, but we're going to you do exactly the same on that one. Okay, so just like we did there. And then you would join, you'd put the two halves together and go all the way down. Okay, like that. And that makes your exploding star. Okay, like that. Obviously it looks like it's not going to fit now, but that's because I haven't sewn those together. Okay, you want your 1/4 inch like that. There we go. Once you've done one of these, there's nothing stopping you playing around with your colour placement. These don't all have to be the same. It could be that you do opposites. You doesn't always have to be, you could do opposites here. These don't have to be background fabrics. They could be other fabrics. If you want to tie it in, maybe you're using lots of scrappy pieces, in your quilt, and you want to tie in extra bits, or you haven't got that much background fabric. You can play around with this, absolutely. You really don't need to keep it exactly as I've done it. Each of your stars as well don't have to be the same in the row. So if I come back over here in a minute, each of your stars, in fact I did 2 and 2, so these two are the same and those two are the same, just because that's the fabrics I had. I was using up smaller bits from these two to make that one. So play around with it and make it yours. But it's a really, if you've never done FPP before, this is a nice one to start with because they are all really big pieces, which makes it easier to join and easier to actually work with. So that's it. That's it for us today. Have a little go at it. Has anybody got any questions? Is there anything anybody? Hope yours turns have. Oh, that's the joy of foundation piecing, Carol. Because you're just stitching on the lines. Your foundation piecing is only as good as your tracing, basically, because you're stitching on the lines that you've drawn. You haven't got to worry too much about 1/4 inches or anything like that. So it almost always works out. It's fab. That's one of the reasons I love it. It's accurate without all the hard work. You'll be fine, I'm sure, my darling. So yes, thank you for all your best wishes for tomorrow. It'll be fine, I'm sure. Go in. I'm not looking forward to getting up at 5:30 though. Got to be in at stupid o'clock in the morning. But yes, I will hopefully recover nice and quickly, and I will be back with you on Tuesday. Sarah is here tomorrow while I'm in being done. Sarah will be here tomorrow. She's got 1 o'clock for you. The one that didn't happen last week, she's going to do tomorrow for you. Fingers crossed it's all working. Have a little go at it. Templating the patterns on the website. It's Quilt Along 3, week 3. Next time we are going to be doing this row, okay, which is, it's how to combine foundation piecing with normal piecing, because these pieces are foundation pieced, all the rest of it isn't, and we've got some smaller bits in there, so it's that, not tricky, but more concentrated piecing with foundation piecing combined. And then the week after we'll be doing applique, and I'm going to show you 2 or 3 different ways of appliquing, which I know we've done before, but it'll be a nice, hopefully a nice refresher. So hopefully that was good. Hopefully you're all fine with it. Have a little go, my darlings, and I will see you next week. Does it blunt your needle quickly? Oh, Mandy, does it blunt your needle quickly? I don't think it blunts it anymore. It certainly does if you do it on paper. In fact, a lot of people, if they're using doing it through the printer paper, they keep a box of needles. So you know you're supposed to change a needle like every 10 hours of sewing. We don't. I know we don't. Not everyone. I'm pretty good, but I don't change it that regularly. And sometimes you think there's nothing wrong with this needle, but I'm going to be a good girl, and I'm going to keep those in a separate box for foundation piecing. I don't find it blunts it doing the stitch and tear because it is fibre, So it's no different really than going through like a fleece or something like that. It does blunt if you're going through paper though. So use an older needle. Keep one that's fine, but use an older needle. I know a lot of people do that when they do it on paper. That was really good. Can't wait to start yours. Oh, brilliant. Thank you, Bernie. Thank you, Angela. Thanks, Grace. Thanks, Mandy. Lovely, lovely. Oh, who else is there? Lots of people. I'm just going to very quickly say goodbye. Thanks, Natalie. Bye, Eileen. Bye, Susie. Bye, Cheryl. Taryn. Oh, lovely, love. Carol. Fab. And Claire as well. Cool. I will see you all Tuesday. Take care. Have a lovely, lovely weekend. Tune in tomorrow for Sarah. Bye.